Hi, I'm Jeff Mullen, founder and CEO of Dynamics. Started Dynamics in 2007 to solve one of the largest issues in payments. Worked with a team of dedicated engineers for 2 years on the technology, and after we had working technology, we showed it to the Executive Vice President of Emerging Technology at Visa. After seeing that technology, he joined us full time, and together we went on to sell the largest paid pilots for on-card technology in the history of banking. And last year we closed the second largest Series A in payments, $5.7 million, led by Adams Capital Management. And so the technology I'm about to show you today has actually been in use in a market much of this year in stealth trials. So what is this problem? It's the fact that we have tens of millions of 1970s era magnetic stripe readers that are using approximately 90% of our day-to-day debit and credit card transactions. And right now it's infeasible to change that infrastructure. Additionally, a 1970s magnetic stripe reader reads from a 1970s magnetic stripe. And it's the static nature of the data on that stripe. The data does not change over the life of the card. That completely blocks innovation in the United States. So Dynamics is here to introduce the solution, the world's first card programmable magnetic stripe. The card has a complete computer processing architecture on it, and that architecture can change on the fly any bit of information on that stripe at any given time. Now, payment card executives can change the functions of the payment cards themselves in order to attract users that gain value from that differentiating functionality. So I'm going to introduce 3 cards today, all Card 2.0 technology. You may be thinking of a very thick, bulky, stiff device. Well, that's not the device the consumer wanted, and so that's not the device we delivered. And so I'm going to start off with a clear card. Right off the bat, you'll see the cards are just as thin as a normal card, 33 thousandths of an inch thick, and they are just as flexible. This card survives all of the flexing tests currently in the industry. If you look at the face of the card, you're going to see all these little black specks. Those are semiconductor die. There are over 70 electrical components squeezed into 1/10 of the cubic inch of volume, thus making this one of the most advanced, smallest form factor consumer electronic devices ever developed. Additionally, we had to redefine miniaturization in order to make this card just as durable as an existing card. And so, if you actually look at it, the tallest component of the card is less than half the thickness of the card. This allows us to surround the card in advanced plastics and polymers. And so therefore, our electronics package is scratch resistant. The stripes are embedded in plastic and do not scratch. And if I turn the card on and I bring out a tub of water, you'll also see the cards are completely waterproof. They can survive in your washing machine. And so this allows payment card executives to change the core functions of the payment cards in order to attract users that gain value from that differentiating functionality. There is not one card for everyone. There are different cards for different segments of users. So I want to introduce a card for the convenience-oriented segment. This is multi-account. Very simply, multiple cards in one. You have 2 printed account numbers on the face of the card and 2 buttons. You simply press the account that you want to use, and a light source indicates that selection, and then we rewrite all of that magnetic stripe information to our electronic stripe. Multiple permutations of this card exist. You may see a debit-credit card combination. You may see a corporate credit, personal credit combination. Our issuers will announce their own products on their own timetables. Now that's for the convenience-oriented consumer. For the security-oriented consumer, you may want to introduce a different card. So let's introduce a card that just eradicates a large portion of credit card fraud. This card is called Hidden, and it does that. You can see a paper-thin, flexible display on the face of the card, 5 buttons, and our electronic stripe. In order to turn this card on, in order to use it, a person has to enter their personal unlocking code that only they know into the face of the card. If they enter their personal unlocking code, then that number is displayed visually, so you can use it in your 10% of your transactions that are done online, and then we write your number magnetically, so you can use it in the 90% of your transactions that are done through an existing card reader. After a period of time, or at user selection, the number is erased from the display, and the stripe erases. Therefore, all of that personal information is sucked back into the embedded electronics in the card. This card's lost or stolen, it's irrelevant. It's a dead piece of plastic because no one knows your personal unlocking code needed in order to activate the card. And so that's for the security segment. I see that I have a couple more minutes, and so in the words of Steve Jobs, just one more thing. So the loyalty segment's huge, but it has a very large problem. Users are limited in the ways in which they can redeem their points. They're limited to very small online redemption catalogs, and they have a very slow, inconvenient online experience when they redeem their points. And so Dynamics introduces the solution. We introduce a card that we call Redemption, which is the ability for a user to push a button in a store at any merchant in the world and buy anything they want with their reward points. Now, in order to create this technology, we knew we had to partner with a true leader in loyalty innovation. And so I'm proud to announce today that in 2008, Dynamics partnered with Citi, the largest card issuer in the world, and I'm humbled right now to introduce Citi's 2G line of credit cards with the introduction of the Citi Dividend 2G card and the Citi Premier Pass 2G card. So we're going to start with Citi's Premier Pass 2G credit card. You can see this has a different configuration. This has one credit number on the face of the card and two buttons above it. This is your payment options area. And there's two payment options associated with this card. The first is if you want to pay for a purchase using your regular credit. The second is if you want to request that that purchase be purchased by redeeming your points. And so every time you make a different selection, different mag stripe data is written to the stripe. Citi receives that, processes it, and finishes the user experience. Now that's for a points-oriented user. For a reward cash-oriented user, the Citi Dividend 2G card gives you that same functionality. And so this is the Citi 2G card. You can see there's two options once again. One button if you want to purchase your item with credit, and the other if you want to request a point redemption functionality. Now these cards have been in the US and stealth pilots for much of this year. Next month, the pilots are going to open up wider and to larger amount of consumers. If you'd like to learn more information, you can go to 2g.citicards.com or poweredcards.com. We are right outside if you want to play with one of these cards. Thank you very much for your time.